You don't rise to greatness by accident. You rise because you choose it. Every decision, every habit, every word you speak is either carrying you toward your vision or holding you in place. If you want to live at your highest level, you must begin to think, walk, and move like the person you dream of becoming. Speak with clarity. Walk with intention. Carry yourself with the presence of your future self. Because identity isn't simply discovered, it is demonstrated. The instant you start behaving as though your next level already belongs to you, something remarkable happens. You begin transforming into the one who truly deserves it. Every action you take is a vote. Each choice is a ballot cast for the version of yourself you're building. The question is, are your votes going toward growth or toward comfort? Most people talk about success, but their daily patterns don't align with that claim. If your vision of yourself is disciplined, courageous, and focused, then your actions must echo that version right now. Don't wait for perfect timing. Don't wait until you feel fully ready. Momentum doesn't come from waiting. It comes from moving. Consider this. Confidence doesn't grow by sitting still. It grows by showing up consistently, even when your hands shake. Think of Amelia Earhart, the pioneer who refused to be grounded by doubt. She didn't wait until fear disappeared before she took to the skies. She became brave by flying anyway. You cannot wait until you feel like the person you want to be. You must act as them first. That is the bridge to transformation. So ask yourself, what are your current habits voting for today? Are they shaping the champion you envision, or keeping you attached to the familiar? Leaders don't appear by chance. They rise because every day they decide their actions will echo their aspirations. And here is the beautiful truth. If you act long enough like the person you aspire to be, one morning you'll wake up and realize you already are. Fear will always try to whisper louder than courage. It slips into your decisions when you're on the edge of a bold step, urging you to retreat. Every time you hesitate, every time you shrink, you train your body to believe fear is in control. And slowly, without noticing, you begin to surrender your future to hesitation. But the opposite is just as real. Each time you lean forward despite the trembling, each time you speak, even though your voice shakes, you teach your inner self that courage leads the way. You rewire your spirit to follow growth instead of comfort. Courage is not loud. It is not reckless. Courage is steady, deliberate, grounded in conviction. It is the quiet decision to move forward even when your knees tremble. Look at Rosa Parks. She did not shout. She simply refused to step aside. That calm, unshakable act shifted history, not because fear was gone, but because faith was greater. You may be waiting for a day when fear disappears, when certainty finally arrives. But what if that day never comes? What if the fear never fully fades, but your courage becomes stronger anyway? What if the only way forward is through? The question is not, are you afraid? The question is, will you move forward anyway? Boldness is like a muscle. It strengthens through resistance, repetition, and small victories. You don't suddenly become bold overnight. You build it in private moments, in small risks, in quiet decisions that no one sees. You don't have to climb the mountain today, but you can take a step. Make the call. Write the line. Say yes. Say no. Begin. You are not waiting for bravery to arrive. You are creating it, act by act, choice by choice. Ask yourself, what would your boldest version do today? Not tomorrow, not someday, today. Would they waste time waiting for approval, or would they step forward with conviction? Your legacy will not be written by what you dreamed of doing, but by what you dared to do. Each courageous action, no matter how small, becomes a seed of transformation. If your future self walked into the room right now, would they recognize your choices or be confused by them? The version of you you've envisioned, prayed for, dreamed of? Are you living in a way that mirrors their focus, their strength, their discipline? Or are your days filled with delay, distraction, and diluted effort? True transformation is not found in wishes. It is built in consistency, not in bursts of effort, but in daily alignment. Greatness is not revealed in extraordinary moments. It is formed in ordinary decisions repeated with integrity. Leonardo da Vinci didn't paint masterpieces by accident. He kept notebooks filled with sketches, studies, ideas. Day after day, his greatness was cultivated in details no one applauded. And that's still true. Your future self is being shaped right now. Not someday, not when the timing is better, but today, in the choices you make, the words you speak, the habits you repeat. The question is urgent. Are your current actions building the life you claim you want, or rehearsing the performance of progress? Because one thing is certain, you will not drift into transformation. You must decide, align, and live as though your future is already here. Most people wait for motivation to strike, like lightning, sudden, dazzling, undeniable. But real momentum doesn't arrive as a spark from the sky. It grows like a flame. And like fire, it must be tended daily. If you rely on sudden bursts of energy, you'll always be inconsistent. But if you build the habit of feeding your flame every day, you become unstoppable. Your transformation begins not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. Begin where no one claps. Build the mindset of your future self in private. Shape their habits in silence. Train their discipline when nobody notices. Spotlights don't create greatness. They only reveal what was built in the dark. This requires sacrifice. You must say no to distractions others embrace. Not because you're better, but because you're becoming someone greater. You must choose growth over gossip, vision over vanity, focus over fleeting comfort. Consider Nelson Mandela. He spent decades in prison, but instead of letting isolation break him, he trained his character in silence. He studied, reflected, and forged resilience in solitude. When the world finally looked to him, he was already prepared, because his greatness had been built long before anyone applauded. The question for you is this: what are you feeding your flame with? Are you nurturing it with knowledge, with goals that stretch you, with mentors who sharpen you? Or are you letting it flicker out with shallow distractions and wasted hours? The person you admire, the disciplined, focused, unstoppable version of you, doesn't appear by chance. They're sculpted in the daily choices that nobody sees. Fire grows when it is fed, but it dies when neglected. Don't wait for the big spark. Begin with small kindling, a morning ritual, a single hour of study, one courageous conversation, one disciplined decision. Each small act is a twig that feeds the flame, and soon, that flame becomes a fire bright enough to guide your path, to warm those around you, to illuminate your purpose. But never forget, it is your job to tend it. No one else can guard the dream that burns inside you. Protect it, nurture it, honor it, not because you always feel inspired, but because it always matters. If you want to step into your higher identity, you must also release what no longer serves you. Many people crave growth, but resist change. They want new outcomes, but cling to old identities. You cannot walk into your future while carrying the weight of your past. Growth always requires release. Think of Malala Yousafzai. She could have accepted fear as her identity. Instead, she chose a new one, the voice of courage, the advocate for education. She did not cling to the identity that was handed to her. She released it, and in doing so, she stepped into her destiny. Ask yourself, what version of me must I let go of in order to rise higher? Is it the insecure one who waits for approval? The distracted one who avoids responsibility? The cautious one who stays silent? Those versions may have helped you survive, but they cannot help you soar. Your purpose doesn't live in who you used to be. It lives in who you are becoming. Like a butterfly leaving the cocoon, you cannot hold on to old layers and still fly. The shell must break for the wings to expand. Release is not loss. It is transformation. Here's the trap. Many people delay their destiny because they believe they have more time. They tell themselves, I'll start when I'm ready. I'll grow when it feels easier. I'll change tomorrow. But tomorrow is the graveyard of possibility. Every second you postpone, you reinforce your current self. And if your current self isn't growing, it is quietly declining. Look at Jeff Bezos. Long before he built Amazon into a global powerhouse, he could have waited for the perfect moment, for stability, for clarity. Instead, he left his comfortable career and built his vision step by step. His empire wasn't born from waiting. It was born from urgency. The truth is simple. Momentum rewards the present, not the hesitant. You don't need perfect conditions to start. You don't need every answer. You need movement. Because each day you act with courage, you multiply tomorrow's results. But each day you delay, you compound stagnation. Ask yourself, what choice can I make today that my future self will thank me for? What risk, what decision, what bold step deserves your action right now, not when life calms down, not when fear leaves, but today? Because stillness is not peace, it is hidden decay. Time doesn't bend to desire, it bows only to discipline. And every minute you spend is a vote for the future you are building. Your legacy won't be built on excuses, it will be built on moments of action. And here is the deeper truth. Greatness is not about who you are in public, but who you are in private. The hidden version of you, the one behind closed doors, holds the keys to your destiny. Public recognition is only the echo of private discipline. Marie Curie, working late into the night, made discoveries that reshaped science, not for applause, not for fame, but because her hidden work mattered. Her legacy shouted only because her preparation whispered. So I'll ask you again, when no one is watching, are you training the person you say you want to be, or are you drifting? Because success doesn't appear when the world looks at you. It begins when you decide in silence. Most people measure their progress by visible results. Numbers, income, trophies, recognition. But true visionaries measure progress differently. They measure it by alignment, because alignment is the invisible engine behind every visible outcome. If your daily choices are not aligned with your ultimate purpose, every step forward is really just a step sideways. So the real question isn't, am I moving? The real question is, am I moving in the right direction? If your actions are disconnected from your destiny, your effort will cancel itself out. You say you want clarity, but you feed confusion. You say you want discipline, but you entertain distraction. You say you want impact, but you spend your days on the trivial. Your life cannot walk in two directions. You cannot serve both fear and purpose. One will always outweigh the other. Mahatma Gandhi understood this. His path wasn't glamorous. It was grounded. Every choice, every step, every sacrifice aligned with a higher mission of peace and justice. His strength wasn't random. It was rooted in consistency of purpose. And that is the lesson. Alignment multiplies power. Think of it like this. Your choices are like arrows. If they point in the same direction, your life moves with unstoppable momentum. But if they scatter, you spend your energy without progress. So ask yourself, do your current routines confirm who you want to become, or do they quietly contradict it? Because you cannot fake alignment. You either live it, or you don't. The truth is, your daily rhythm is preaching something. Every habit is a sermon. Every decision is a declaration. They either confirm your belief in your vision, or reveal your disbelief in it. Albert Einstein didn't stumble into genius. His results were delayed, but his commitment was immediate. Long before he changed how we see the universe, He aligned his life with endless curiosity and relentless work. His greatness wasn't in the flashes of insight. It was in the daily alignment with wonder, discipline, and patience. That's what alignment looks like in action. Now, let's talk about discipline. People often imagine discipline as dramatic, as a battle cry, as something explosive. But in reality, discipline is simple, even boring. It is the act of showing up repeatedly, regardless of feelings, regardless of applause. It's the commitment to do what aligns, not just what excites. Stephen King, one of the most prolific authors in history, writes every single morning. Not when inspiration strikes, not when it feels glamorous, but every day. His legacy is not talent alone, but discipline in alignment with his vision. The same is true for you. Success is not built in random bursts of effort. It is built in consistent alignment. Here's a key truth. Adversity is not an interruption. It is the forge. The very challenges you try to escape are often the exact pressures shaping the identity you admire. Oprah Winfrey, born into poverty and hardship, faced rejection after rejection. But she aligned her life with a vision bigger than her pain. Instead of allowing trials to shrink her, she allowed them to refine her voice, her message, her mission. She didn't become influential despite adversity. She became influential because of it. And so will you, if you choose alignment over escape. Your future self is not waiting for comfort. They are waiting for consistency. They are born in pressure, revealed in discipline, and sustained by alignment. Trials aren't detours. They are mirrors. They reflect the strength you already carry and the growth you're being called into. When hardship strikes, ask yourself, am I shrinking or am I rising? Am I complaining or am I constructing? Because your response reveals your identity. The strong version of you isn't hiding in ease. It is revealed in endurance. Here's the paradox. Most people wait for clarity before they commit. They want the full map before they take the first step. But clarity is not the prerequisite. It is the reward. The map doesn't appear until you start walking. The fog doesn't lift until you move forward. The light doesn't spread until you take the first step. Florence Nightingale, the pioneer of modern nursing, stepped into dark, plague-ridden hospitals with no guarantees. She didn't wait for certainty. She created certainty through action. Her clarity came after her commitment. The same is true for you. You won't think your way into certainty. You will walk your way into it. Faith is not theory. Faith is movement. It is stepping forward, trembling if you must, but still moving. Each act of obedience, each bold step, each small decision creates momentum. And momentum is what builds confidence. So don't wait for a floodlight on your path. You only need enough light for the next step. And as you move, the path will appear. The power of your life lies not in occasional inspiration, but in daily alignment. And alignment is not glamorous, it is honest. If you are out of alignment, adjust. If you've been distracted, return. If you've been passive, recommit. Begin now. Begin again. Because when your life points in one direction, truth, purpose, conviction, momentum becomes natural, discipline becomes lighter, and results become inevitable. This is how you become unshakable. This is how you rise, not in chaos, but in congruence. Your future self isn't waiting for more talent, more applause, or more luck. They're waiting for you to align. Every time you compromise your values, you step away from the person you're meant to become. Often, it doesn't happen in dramatic ways. It happens subtly. A small nod to fit in. A silent agreement to avoid conflict. A smile that hides your truth. But peace that costs your integrity is not peace. It's surrender. Integrity is your compass. When you abandon it, you lose direction. You begin to drift. And one day, you may not recognize the person in the mirror. Integrity is not perfection. It is consistency. It is the alignment between your inner truth and your outer choices. It's staying loyal to the character of your future self, especially when it's hard, especially when it costs you. Look at Abraham Lincoln. During one of the most divided seasons in American history, he had every reason to bend for popularity. He could have chosen convenience over conviction, but he didn't. He stood for what was right, even when it was unpopular. And that's why his leadership outlived his lifetime. The same is true for you. You will not drift into respect. You will not stumble into legacy. You build it choice by choice, often unseen, often uncelebrated. So ask yourself, what principles am I refusing to negotiate today? Because your higher self won't thank you for blending in. They'll thank you for standing tall, for protecting your truth, for honoring your values, even when no one clapped. Integrity is the crown that gives you authority. It is what earns you trust. It is what separates leaders from the crowd. And when the applause fades, when the lights go out, when the audience leaves, only one thing remains: your name and the choices that shaped it. Let those choices be honorable. Let them reflect the future you, not the pressure of the moment. But integrity isn't the only language of transformation. The words you speak shape the world you walk into. Language is not neutral. It directs your destiny. Every phrase you declare is a seed, and what you speak, you eventually live. If your vocabulary is full of limitation, your reality will be too. Say, "I can't," often enough, and eventually you won't. Say, "I will," with conviction, and eventually you do. Winston Churchill, standing in the shadow of global war, didn't echo despair. He declared victory long before it was visible. His speeches weren't mere inspiration. They were anchors of courage in a time of fear. He proved that words don't just describe reality, they create it. So listen to yourself closely. Are you speaking like a victim or like a visionary? Do your words sound like someone barely surviving or someone building? Every time you say, "That's just not who I am," you reinforce a past identity you claim you want to outgrow. But every time you say, "I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm becoming," you open the door to transformation. Your declarations are not fake. They are formative. They're shaping your confidence, your momentum, your belief. Ask yourself, what new words must I start using today to align with who I'm becoming? Replace "I'm overwhelmed" with "I'm organizing my priorities." Replace "I always fail" with "I'm learning and improving." Replace "this will never change" with "I am committed to growth, even when it's slow." Speak like someone preparing for promotion. Speak like someone who expects breakthrough. Speak like someone who understands that life and death are carried in the power of the tongue. Maya Angelou once said that words are things. They get into your rugs, into your clothes, into the walls of your home. They shape the atmosphere you live in. She was right. Your vocabulary is not just sound. It is the climate you breathe. So pause, audit your language. Are your words supporting your future or sabotaging it? Then shift. Speak life. Speak progress. Speak faith. Because your world is being built, one sentence at a time. And let's not forget, the right environment is just as important as the right words. You cannot grow into your highest self if you remain rooted in toxic soil. Surroundings matter. You become who you are around, not instantly, but gradually. Leonardo da Vinci thrived in Florence and Milan because he was surrounded by thinkers, artists, and innovators who demanded excellence. His genius bloomed because the environment around him nourished it. Ask yourself, who is watering my potential, and who is quietly draining it? Are your conversations pulling you upward or pulling you back? Do your friends cheer your growth or fear your change? The soil you choose determines the fruit you bear. If you want to rise, you must plant yourself in places that nourish your vision, not suffocate it. Step into communities that challenge you. mentors that stretch you, environments that speak to your potential more than your past. Because your evolution is not only about effort, it is about atmosphere. Your destiny will not thrive in shallow soil. Protect your ground, guard your environment, surround yourself with those who see your wings even before you do. Because your highest self isn't waiting on more hustle, it's waiting on better soil. Most people treat their attention as if it were infinite, pouring it into distractions, endless scrolling, and noise that never gives anything back. But your future self requires a different kind of energy, focused, disciplined, intentional. We live in an age that glorifies being busy, but often starves purpose. Activity is not achievement. Motion is not momentum. The currency of your future is not how much you do, it's what you focus on. Your attention is treasure. It reveals your values. It builds your habits. It maps your direction. If you want to know your future, look at what you're focusing on today. Nikola Tesla offers a lesson in devotion. He wasn't distracted by applause, critics, or chaos. He immersed himself completely in discovery. His breakthroughs in electricity weren't gifts. They were the result of fierce focus, of pouring his energy into what mattered most. That same principle applies to you. If your energy is scattered, your destiny will be too. So ask yourself, where is my focus leaking? What conversations, habits, or digital detours are draining your strength? Because every leak in focus is a stolen piece of your future. Sometimes the problem isn't lack of motivation, it's lack of boundaries. Say no more often, not because you're selfish, but because your vision is sacred. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every invitation deserves your time. Not every voice deserves your energy. Greatness requires margin. And margin only appears when distractions disappear. Your highest self doesn't chase everything. They protect their focus. They guard their attention. They live with intentionality, not busyness. Before you say yes to something, ask, does this feed my future or only entertain my present? But focus alone is not enough. You must also understand identity. Too many people treat identity like a noun, as if it's something to be found. In truth, identity is a verb. You don't simply have confidence. You do confidence. You don't have discipline. You practice discipline. You don't get excellence. You live excellence. Transformation isn't a single moment. It's a movement built in repetition. Louis Pasteur, the scientist who revolutionized medicine, wasn't defined by one discovery. His breakthroughs came after countless failures, endless nights in the lab, and years of repeated effort. His brilliance wasn't an accident. It was built in persistence. And that's how identity is formed. Not by imagining who you want to be, but by repeatedly doing what that version of you would do. Ask yourself, am I doing the work of the person I want to become, or am I just dreaming about them? You say you want to be disciplined. Are you setting the alarm and showing up? You say you want to be confident. Are you speaking with courage, even when it's uncomfortable? You say you want to grow. Are you creating new routines or just wishing? Confidence won't arrive like a package on your doorstep. It's forged in small repetitions, built like a muscle, one act at a time. The person you admire is not waiting for permission. They're practicing their habits, practicing their discipline, practicing their mission. And every time you practice, you're casting a vote for the future you. But identity has one more foundation: belief. Belief is not passive. It is power. It is the decision to walk as if your future is inevitable. Helen Keller, silenced by blindness and deafness, was told her world was limited, but she believed otherwise. That belief attracted mentors, unlocked her potential, and shaped a mission that touched the entire world. She didn't have proof before she believed. Her belief created the proof. The same is true for you. You don't wait for evidence to believe. You believe first, and evidence follows. Most people stop because the applause hasn't arrived. The results aren't visible. The progress seems slow. But greatness isn't for those who merely hope. It's for those who believe, persist, and act as if it's already theirs. Faith is not waiting, it is walking. It's declaring your future in the dark until the light appears. So ask yourself, what would change if I believed my vision was inevitable? Would you speak differently? Would you walk taller? Would you stop tolerating distractions? Would you start building with urgency? Because belief doesn't just shape your mindset, it shapes your momentum. Steve Jobs once said that people with passion can change the world. But what fueled that passion wasn't mere inspiration, it was belief. Belief that what didn't exist yet could be created. Belief that vision could become reality. You already know who you want to be. You already carry the spark. Now you must fuel it with faith, with practice, with focus. Because your highest self doesn't appear after you find yourself. They appear after you build yourself. Decision by decision, word by word, habit by habit. So remember this. The spotlight doesn't make you ready. It only reveals whether you are. Every choice you make in private is preparing you for the platform. Every word you speak is shaping your path. Every act of focus is building the future that's waiting for you. Stop waiting. Start becoming. Because the person you want to be is already inside you, waiting for you to choose them today. Vision is powerful. It awakens possibility. It stirs your spirit. It pulls you towards something greater. But vision without structure is just fantasy. Inspiration without organization will eventually fade. The people you admire, the ones who seem unstoppable, don't just dream. They design. They don't just hope, they schedule. They treat their time like currency, investing it with precision. Because they understand that structure is faith in action. It's the declaration, my future is worth preparing for. Serena Williams didn't dominate tennis by relying on passion alone. Her greatness was built on routines, on hours of disciplined practice, on carefully structured training that matched her vision. Passion fueled her, but structure sustained her. So ask yourself, does my calendar reflect my calling? If you say you value growth, discipline, or impact, but your time isn't organized around those values, then your dream is just talk. Your schedule is the mirror of your priorities. Greatness doesn't fail because people dream too big. It fails because they structure too little. Imagine what would happen if your days were organized around your highest self. Imagine mornings filled with intention, afternoons with deep focus, evenings with reflection and renewal. Imagine a life where your habits reinforce your mission instead of sabotaging it. That's not limitation, that's liberation. Structure doesn't trap you. It frees you from chaos, so your vision can breathe. But there's another element of mastery that separates leaders from the rest: emotional discipline. True strength isn't loud. It isn't about volume or force. It's about staying steady when everything around you shakes. Emotional discipline is the armor of real leadership. It doesn't mean you feel less. It means you govern more. It means you don't let fear dictate your decisions or anger steer your actions. Martin Luther King Jr. embodied this. He didn't lead through rage, but through calm conviction. His strength wasn't in out-shouting opponents, but in outlasting them with peace, focus, and purpose. Your emotions are not the enemy. They are information. But they are not meant to drive. They are meant to inform. The strongest person in the room isn't the one who shouts the loudest. It's the one who stays grounded, listens deeply, and responds with clarity. And here's one more truth. You cannot build a new life with an old language. The words that shaped your past cannot design your future. If you keep speaking in the vocabulary of limitation, you will keep living in limitation. Your mouth is a mirror of your mind. Every word you speak is either constructing a fortress of faith or a cage of doubt. Barack Obama, in his speeches, often declared hope long before it was visible. His words created momentum. His language built bridges of possibility. He didn't wait for certainty. He spoke it into existence. And so must you. Speak like the person you are becoming, not the one you're leaving behind. But even with focus, structure, and words, there's one more key: your environment. You cannot grow into your future self while staying planted in toxic soil. Every seed needs the right climate. Elon Musk, before building rockets and electric cars, immersed himself in environments of innovation. He surrounded himself with engineers, thinkers, and bold dreamers. That environment fueled what others thought was impossible. So ask yourself, am I in a place that nourishes my vision or drains it? Sometimes the most dangerous place is not where you're attacked. It's where you're accepted for staying small. Comfort can be more dangerous than criticism. Surround yourself with people who call you higher, who speak to your potential, who challenge your growth. Because your future doesn't just require effort, it requires atmosphere. And finally, let's talk about the forge of challenge. Too many people view hardship as a setback, when in reality, it is preparation. Pressure doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to refine you. J.K. Rowling, before her books touched the world, faced rejection after rejection. Yet every no built resilience. Every setback refined her vision. Her success wasn't born in comfort, it was forged in challenge. Your trials are not proof of your weakness. They are proof of your becoming. The strongest version of you is born in this battle, not beyond it. So here's the truth that brings it all together. You already know who you want to be. The vision is inside you. The spark is alive. The only question is whether you will act like it. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect day. Don't wait for fear to disappear. Begin now. Speak with conviction. Walk with clarity. Guard your integrity. Feed your fire. Protect your focus. Align your actions. Structure your time. Surround yourself with growth. Because the person you admire, the person you dream of becoming, is not waiting for tomorrow. They are waiting for you today. So step forward, not timidly, but with authority, not with apology, but with authenticity, not someday now. Because you don't find your future self, you build them. One choice, one word, one act of courage at a time. And when you live this way, you will wake up one day and realize you didn't just chase greatness. You became it.